Welcome to the Intrazone, a show about the Microsoft 365 Intelligent Intranet. I'm Mark Cashman, Senior Product Manager at Microsoft, here today spending time with Adam Harmetz, Vice President of SharePoint Experiences at Microsoft, to get his perspective on the recent SharePoint announcements disclosed at the Microsoft 365 conference on May 2nd, 2023 in Las Vegas, Nevada. You'll get Adam's take on Copilot in SharePoint, all the coming site design goodness, including custom fonts and brand center, the updated capabilities when working with images and video, plus one of the core aspects, one of the design goals if you ask me, to evolve the SharePoint Start experience for when you're in creator mode. By the end of the time with Adam, you'll better understand that the future of SharePoint, one that allows you to work more intuitively, to express and communicate your ideas, your plans, your information with fewer manual steps and the help of AI, aka your intranet web design partner. Internally, this wave of innovation is referred to as the SharePoint Creators Update. The vision aims to unleash millions of creators, site owners, news authors, page creators, alongside portal administrators to write, brand, publish, and share content with ease throughout your organization. So, are you ready to be unleashed? Are you ready to create newsletters, event announcements, project tracking sites, trip reports, brochure sites, and more and more and more? Take a deep breath, clear your productivity mind. Here is our interview with Adam Harmetz. Hello, my name is Mark Cashman, and I'm a Senior Product Manager on the SharePoint team, and I'm here at the Microsoft 365 conference making a lot of hullabaloo about everything SharePoint, OneDrive, Stream Lists, on and on. And I'm very pleased to be sitting down now to hear a little bit more about SharePoint, Adam Harmetz.
Great to be here.
So, Adam, big first question. A, how's the conference going for you, and what is some of the feedback that you're hearing based on everything that's been unleashed publicly?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I think people are just excited to be back together again. This is my second conference since we had to take a break. And the energy's great. The ability to just get some quick questions answered, get some real-time feedback from folks. It's been super exciting. I can feel that energy. We managed to figure out ways of working asynchronously with the community, but to bring it all back together to get in person has been really exciting. And then, of course, people are excited both about the depth guidance that we offer, deep 300 level sessions. And then, we're making some news here with a big update to OneDrive, big update to SharePoint user experience, allowing people to create more compelling sites, more engaging sites. And so answering a lot of questions about that. Of course, everybody's asking when it's coming, but also just that sort of behind the scenes, like how did this come to be and what's the strategy and what does it mean for me? What can I create? How can I bring it back to my team? I had breakfast with somebody this morning that was just like, hey, I've been creating intranets for 10 years. And this is exactly what I was hoping you were going to talk about. She actually took a pause and she's like, she was going to go back to her boss. Can I get back into creating intranets again? This sounds so exciting. Look at the cool visuals that I can create with this. So
that's awesome.
That's like exactly what we envisioned, hoping to inspire people to do.
The 2016 event, which was the future of SharePoint, that was another big turn of the crank. And there was that moment where people thought, we're really reinvigorating SharePoint. And this moment also felt like that. I know a lot of what your team is working on, there was a lot of work, but then to have disclosed that in the 2016 event, that was on May 4th. So again, may the 4th be with you tomorrow. But this time it was May 2nd. Talk about the top news, which was very exciting, both by name and by what the team was working on. Can you give us a little bit of what is Copilot in SharePoint?
Yeah, it combines together three things. It combines together large language models. It combines together, our best practices for how to create beautiful web content. And it combines together, your content, our customers' content in the Microsoft Graph, to be able to allow people to create compelling and beautiful sites and pages. I sort of like to think about it of like all the best practices we've had for how to create sites. People have confidence that they're using the best of SharePoint will all be possible thanks to Copilot and SharePoint. It's definitely a partner, web design partner. We're not claiming it replaces any web designers or even sort of gets you fully there. It sort of gets you started. SharePoint all up, web content all up can be a little bit intimidating to get started with. There's a lot to think about, both from layout and content and a bunch of features to be able to be used. And so I think hopefully it makes SharePoint more approachable too, where more people can be SharePoint experts because it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So that's the headline, and that's certainly one of our headline announcements.
I think it'll be a big win for people that want to create a site, maybe create it a little bit more naturally, but also just influence how it gets created by nature of if they didn't know a template existed or they didn't know that you could do X or Y in the layout. And I want to talk about something that's a little bit more of a company broad way of starting, which is thinking about branding, theming, fonts maybe. Can you tell us a little bit about Brand Center, how that plays into both Copilot, what you might get to create the site, but once you have a site and how you can further customize it, make it your own?
Yeah, we're making huge aesthetic updates to SharePoint, like allow people to create more branded sites, more beautiful sites, more engaging sites, really just upping the aesthetic quality of your intranet, upping the user experience bar. And one way we're doing that is introducing a Brand Center. So you can bring your own font finally to SharePoint.
BYOF, I think, is going to be the hashtag.
BYOF. And that's certainly part of the announcement. But, maybe to take a step back, in the Future of SharePoint event, we doubled the size of our design team. And that was a great milestone, and that led to modern SharePoint and some of the visuals that we're still incredibly proud of today. This time, as we thought about raising the bar yet again, we actually augmented our existing design team with a design systems team. So these are the types of designers that really think about the systems of grids and layouts. And they were part of the people that inspired us to say, hey, let's not just think about bring your own font. Let's not think about one feature. Let's think about the entire system of branding across all of the needs that folks have to customize their sites and make sure that branding guidance is enforced across the sprawl of the intranet that can exist. And so the Brand Center, yes, it brings your own font, bring logos, but then it helps you enable that those brand elements get used across a bunch of sites as well. And where needed enforced, where maybe there's a little less option for individual sites to use something that has to conform to the brand, which has been a source of feedback from many customers too, if they want to just have that consistency. Because brand at the end of the day is really about allowing your sites to help ensure that your users have this sense of affinity to your organization and help drive your mission's purpose. And that can only be done with a little bit of consistency across sites. And so Brand Center will help with that as well.
That's great. I think the work that you're doing across everything you've just shared really addresses where people maybe in the past said, can you help me make it not look like SharePoint? I'm confident, and this is using somebody's tweet from the community.
I saw that tweet too. Go ahead.
Actually, we want to now make it look like SharePoint because they really liked the opportunity for it to be something that looks beautiful. It's obviously within the corporate boundaries and adherent to whatever their branding might be.
Yeah, I think we're pretty excited about it. And that was certainly one section of what we were announcing.
So I want to talk about two important content types in our language, but translate that to when people are building sites and or news and pages. They oftentimes work with imagery, so images and video. Can you talk about some of the work in how you can work with images in line? And then second, just describe some of the new template approach or some of the new video capabilities that we're working with Stream.
Yeah. I mean, the image work is really interesting. It's definitely motivated by the need to conform to brand and conform to look and feel, people to feel like they can make things look, like according to their brand. And part of that is be able to take images and manipulate them in the right way. I also think it helps, frankly, just to be blunt, it makes SharePoint feel less boxy, right? The ability to lay out images, be able to crop them into certain shapes. You can actually see in some of the demo videos how it just gives this like more natural feel to the page, which is, pretty standard in web design, and it's pretty awesome. And then, we look at customer feedback all the time, including in-product feedback. We ask surveys like were you satisfied as a page author? And frankly, some of the reasons when people weren't satisfied, the ability to manipulate images was one of the top reasons there. So it's also motivated by this ability to really sort of check off the top customer feedback and really address it in real time.
I think I learned a new term that I think is going to make me look good, even though I don't publish a lot, for the whole company. But the ability to put a leaf look onto the image, super slick. And I think it's just going to be like one of those things where people are going to yeah, I'm using that almost every time because it just makes it look really clean and beautiful.
Yeah, no, totally. And then you were asking about video. And so first off, it's just, a new Stream web part, the best of video streaming from Microsoft available right in SharePoint, tight integration between us and the Stream team to be able to make that happen. And then we thought, what can we do to bring it even further? What can we do to make sure that video is more approachable and accessible on your intranet? And so, as you mentioned, we're having a series of templates because we have some points of view about how video can best be used on pages. Very simple scenario. You did a town hall meeting. So you have notes and, thoughts from your town hall. You have a recording and you have a PowerPoint deck. You want to be able to put that together, and you don't just want to share it out as 3 blue links. What you want to do is you have a beautiful, engaging engaging thing, but you don't have time to create a bunch of stuff like that. So we have a template where you can just slap that in and get going. And you can even start from stream. So yes, all those SharePoint experts, you can start from SharePoint and you know what a page template is, you just get going. But you can start right from stream, right from your town hall recording video, for instance, and just say, hey, I want one of these things because I want to share it in a beautiful, stunning way. And then it's just a couple clicks. And you don't even really feel like you're building a SharePoint site.
And I think it's really important just for everybody to understand the direction that the stream team has gone is the actual files are now in SharePoint, which means your files, your pages, your sites, everything is stored in the right way, we think, in terms of good governance, good ways of working with it, but also means those capabilities are now available to videos directly, inherently.
Yeah. And I think this is a larger point, too, that we're trying to make about an intranet. I do think some people think of intranet and they still think of something that they visit, every once in a while. Maybe it's a policy document that they have to look up. And we're really trying to redefine that word with this update. We really want more people to consider themselves intranet creators. We want like 10x the number of people that consider that intranet creators by redefining that word. We talked a little bit about raising the user experience bar earlier. And this example of video templates is really sort of lowering the barrier to entry as well. Because if we can associate things you can do on the intranet, SharePoint page creation scenarios, more deeply with the workflows that people have on a team, and people aren't intimidated by intranet, and it feels like something that they can create on it, that's really sort of embracing the vision we have to have. And of course, Copilot and SharePoint's a big part of that. We're both providing templates and then using AI to really simplify the authoring flows.
So if I put my creator hat on to leverage kind of the early moniker internally when there's a lot of sets of features that you're all working on, kind of the creator's update, I think one question people will ask is, where do I go to get started? And I know that there's a big update coming to the SharePoint Start. Just to be very clear, when somebody goes to the Microsoft 365 app launcher, clicks on SharePoint, that's what we call the SharePoint Start page. And that really is going to reorient itself to be the support for creators. Can you talk a little bit around the create experience that your team is thinking that leads to a lot of what you've already talked about, but just is that new create experience?
Yeah, exactly. It's part of that strategy I was just talking about, really making it simple to author pages and also just make it, very easy to how to get started. Redefine that word intranet by reducing the barrier to entry and by having a dedicated experience that's really sort of basically where people can get inspired by what they can create. So we'll have a lot of templates. We'll have entry to Copilot and SharePoint right there. We'll have a lot of analytics so you can see the return on your investment. And it's just really an experience designed to say, hey, I think you can get a lot of value both for your team, your organization, and yourself by being a creator on SharePoint. And one of the things that's enabled us to do this is that today's purpose of the SharePoint Start page is really to help you get back to your SharePoint sites. But we've been making investments over the past couple of years for many, many other ways you can do that. Most prominently is the app bar in SharePoint. So if you want to get back to your sites, you can now go anywhere. You don't have to go to SharePoint Start. Anywhere in SharePoint, you can use the app bar and then go to any SharePoint sites. Your frequent, your followed sites are right there. And so that opens up this opportunity of what are we going to do with the new Start page? And when we thought deeply about it, we're like, creators are the heart and soul of SharePoint. Creators make SharePoint thrive, and let's create a space dedicated for them. So yeah, that's the strategy we're really excited about.
That's cool. So I thought it's just something that we could wrap up on is a lightning round of 3 questions. And I want you to take the perspective of you're the SharePoint team. You represent what the SharePoint team is doing. But I'm going to throw 3 products at you. And if you can just give me kind of your 101 quick lightning answer to what is the SharePoint role in supporting that product. And the first one I want to throw at you is Microsoft Viva.
For Viva, it's several things. Obviously, much of Viva is powered by SharePoint under the hood. But I think the other way of thinking about it is that if you have adopted SharePoint, if you've embraced SharePoint, one of the best ways of getting return on your investment is to adopt Microsoft Viva as your employee experience platform.
So the next one is Microsoft Lists.
Once again, SharePoint powers Microsoft Lists. SharePoint is a flexible content platform powering all of these scenarios. As I think about lists, we've really provided choice over how people use it. You can go to the Lists app and you can list. And of course, as part of a SharePoint site, if you want to create and manage a list within there, you can do that too.
So the last one that I want to throw at you, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, so there might be kind of a point 2 of your answer, but Microsoft Stream.
Once again, SharePoint's a flexible content platform, so it provides all the infrastructure for storing videos and then partners with Stream to actually deliver the streaming elements of it.
Well, I'm very excited with what your team has at least unleashed in a disclosure moment, and very excited. Some of those are actually now on the public roadmap, so if people are questioning, when is it coming, which I'm not going to ask you on the point right here, but that's starting to be, stake in the ground, teams hard at work. Very much appreciate that you're willing to share today and very excited for what your team is going to deliver.
Just to be clear, the public blog posts have a roadmap for every single item on it. We have infographics on roadmap. People have lots of questions on when. This was a vision event. It was to be followed by delivery over the course of the coming months. And so we tried to be really good about saying, here's our best estimate of how these things will roll out over time.
I thought for a second I could see right through you because you are very transparent.
There we go, Mark.
But thank you for your time, Adam.
Thanks.
It's great to hear from Adam. He really is a great leader internally, and he's one of those trusted voices externally. He has been on SharePoint for quite some time, reinvigorating it, invigorating his team, and he was generous with his time and insights to share more about what was disclosed, how he and his team turn now to take drafted plans and make them and create reality out of them for you. The buzz is real on the inside. Developers and designers at Microsoft are jazzed with the charter to bring all the goodness to you. I'm so pleased at the reception of the news so far. That means claps in Vegas, comments and questions on the various blogs, and social engagement in the Twitterverse and beyond. It's very exciting next few quarters to come to bring it all to life in production. Very exciting. Next, I want to turn just to highlight a number of the upcoming 2023 events that we have going forward. This week, when this episode drops, there is a 365 EduCon DC in Washington, D.C. That's June 12th through the 16th, so it's happening right now. And there are 2 more cities on the 365 EduCon trip throughout the year, which is Seattle and Chicago. But if you're in D.C. or you want that last-minute registration invitation, it's here. Next up, Collab Days Central Europe. This is on June 17th in Technopark Zurich. There are 4 tracks with up to 20 sessions in one day, so it's a lot of great content. Collab Days are often free. This one is free. So if you're in the Central Europe region, close to the Technopark, get techno and get over there. Next is a Microsoft event called Microsoft Inspire. This is July 18th through the 19th, and it's a virtual-only event for anyone, but it is geared towards partners to elevate their business by joining Microsoft in one of our largest partner events of the year. And this one in particular is going to help accelerate a lot of the AI transformation with Microsoft that intends to help fuel your business growth. There's a lot more beyond AI, of course, but it'll be a big focus for this year for Microsoft Inspire and how Microsoft and partners work together going forward. Next is the European Power Platform Conference. This is right around the same time, June 20th to the 22nd, 2023, and it's in Dublin, Ireland. And this is brought to you by the same folks that run the European SharePoint Conference. And at the EPPC 23, they have 3 keynotes. There are 6 expert tutorials, or if you like to call tutorials, workshops. And there are 90 plus sessions that are planned that go in depth to give you all the information, training, and of course, expertise that you need around the Power Platform. Next up is Commsverse 2023. This is June 21st to the 22nd. This is in Surrey in the United Kingdom. This event is a dedicated Microsoft Teams community conference focused on improving the use of Teams technologies within the workplace. So expect a lot of Teams expertise, a lot of Teams information. If you have a question around Microsoft Teams, I guarantee that Commsverse will have that answer for you. So if you're in the UK region or want to take a trip across the pond, Commsverse 2023, June 21st to the 22nd. Looking a little bit ahead into July and August, I have 2 more events. One is Collab Days Zagreb, and this is July 1st, 2023 in Zagreb, Croatia. And we have the 365 EduCon Seattle, August 21st through the 25th, 2023, of course, in Seattle, Washington. There's a number of things that we'll be doing at that show, keynotes, sessions. We also have a dedicated Microsoft AMA, and it's always a great time to get together across Collab Days or EduCon or Power Platform conferences. A lot of great event organizers, a lot of great local user groups putting on larger events. If you have an event that you would like highlighted on the Intrazone, please send it our way. We really do try to comb every aspect of the interwebs to find all the events that we think are related to what you're interested in if you're an IntraZone listener. But if we miss something or you specifically want to highlight an event that you manage or know about, please let us know and we will highlight it on a future episode of the IntraZone. Next, just based on our topic today, I wanted to call out 2 related blogs and just the value of the SharePoint community blog. The first one is the broader blog by Jeff Teeper, and it's titled Welcome to the New Era of SharePoint and OneDrive in Microsoft 365. This is an aggregate post across all of the announcements from SharePoint, OneDrive, Lists, Stream, and a couple of additional updates around security. It also has a lot of links out to go learn more, and one of those links out, that is the depth blog for SharePoint, is titled SharePoint in the AI Era, Introducing Copilot in SharePoint and 10 More Innovations for Creators. This really is the one that Adam Harmetz authored himself, and it is really the drill down of a lot of what he covered in this interview. For Jeff's broader blog post, you can find it at aka.ms/M365/May2/ODSP. And for Adam's blog, you can find that at aka.ms/M365/May2/SharePoint. And as a reminder, where a lot of the content to keep up to date with all things SharePoint, you can always go to the SharePoint community blog. And the easiest way to get there is aka.ms/SharePoint/blog. And that will take you right in to all of the latest news, blogs, announcements, and of course, a forum to engage and ask questions, get answers, and be a part of the SharePoint community. I want to thank our guest, Adam Harmetz, for distilling more about the recent SharePoint announcements. We encourage you to check out our show page for links to all of what was discussed today, those specific blogs, and links out to things that are closely related to all of these announcements. You can go to aka.ms/theintrazone. You can also send any questions that you have anytime, any feedback for the SharePoint team specifically about these announcements or anything that you have a question on. You can reach us via email directly at theintrazone@microsoft.com or via Twitter @SharePoint, @mcashman, @cmcnulty2000, or @Adam Harmetz. Remember to rate and review and tell all your friends about SharePoint and the show, and follow the show wherever you get your favorite tech podcasts. I thank you for listening. I'm Mark Cashman, and this has been The IntraZone, a show about the Microsoft 365 Create with SharePoint Intelligent Intranet.